Hi, my name's Jeff J.
And I'm Deborah J.
And we want to welcome you to our intervention workshop. We're going to teach you all of the same information and tips and techniques that we would if we were sitting right in your living room and working with you personally. We want to preserve the dignity of the person that we're trying to intervene on. We're going to show you how to do that. And we're also going to show you how to use the power of love and concern to break through their denial and get them to accept the help that they really need.
Interventions of yesterday used to use toughness to break through the denial, but today we use love. It's a much more powerful force, and it's something families can feel really good about.
Confrontation often leads to just more confrontation. It really doesn't bring you to resolution. So we're going to show you how to use care and concern. In this way, intervention is really like CPR for alcoholism. You know, in years gone by, before CPR was developed, many people died of that heart attack because no one knew how to respond right in the home. And like CPR, intervention is something that you have to learn. You wouldn't make CPR up off the top of your head, and you're not going to make up an intervention technique that's going to be successful just off the top of your head. So we are going to show you step by step how to plan and prepare and rehearse so that you can carry out a good structured family intervention.
And sometimes families say, oh no, we couldn't intervene. You know, we just have to let him figure out how to get into treatment on his own time, or we just have to let her do her own thing until she finally gets help on her own. But what's important for you to realize is that no alcoholic wakes up one morning and says, gosh, this is a great day for treatment. The same way no addict says, my goodness, this is a good day for me to get involved in a 12-step program and get sober. It's always something that intervenes. Usually, it's an unorganized jumble of negative consequences, even personal tragedies, over a course of years and sometimes decades before anybody chooses to get help.
That's right. You know, I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict, and this is what one looks like. And I can guarantee you that I did not wake up one day and say, boy, I think I'll be an alcoholic when I grow up. And by the same token, I didn't wake up one day and say, well, I think I'll clear my schedule for a month and go off to treatment. Something had to happen. In this case, it was my parents who intervened on me and brought me to that moment of clarity that opened my eyes, so I realized that I really had to get help, and I was able to get help and get better and live the great life that I have today.
And many people never, ever reach out for help. About 350 people a day die of addiction before they ever reached out for help or got treatment.
A lot of people get bad information too. A lot of families, they'll say, oh, you've just got to let them hit bottom. Well, as Deborah is saying, bottom may be death.
And we also know that people end up in jail, people end up with serious health problems. And for some people, maybe the losses are quieter, the loss of family, the loss of potential.
Yes. What we want to do is raise the bottom to right now. We want to bring together all the most important people in the person's life, train them and rehearse them very carefully so that we can bring about a very powerful experience for the addicted person and get them to accept help.
Because when we intervene, the family takes charge. We no longer leave things to chance.
That's right.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about the disease of addiction and the different names we use to describe this disease in society. For instance, alcoholism.
Or drug addiction.
Prescription drug addiction.
Chemical dependency.
Or inhalant abuse.
And as we go through our intervention workshop, we will use a lot of these terms interchangeably. We may say addiction or alcoholism or chemical dependency, but we're always referring to the same addictive disorder, the same addictive disease.
Because remember, as a society, we put different stigma on different drugs. So we use different terms for the addiction to different drugs, but the brain doesn't know the difference. To the brain, a drug is a drug is a drug. Once it's addicted, it doesn't matter what the drug is.
And you may be asking yourself right at the beginning now, how can I be sure that the person that I'm concerned about really is an alcoholic or a drug addict? Well, there are a lot of tests that you can take, little checklists that you can go down, 20 questions or what have you. But there's really only one question that you have to ask. And here it is. Does the person that I'm concerned about continue to have repeated negative consequences as a result of the drinking or the drugging? And do they continue to drink or drug anyway? If the answer is yes, then there is a very high likelihood that there is a problem and that something needs to be done about it.
Many families ask the question, can we do an intervention without hiring a professional interventionist? After all, the cost of hiring a professional might be prohibitive for some families. And the answer is yes, many families, when they get the right information, they follow the directions, they do all the planning, all of the preparation, are very successful at doing an intervention without a professional present. After all, when intervention was developed in the 1960s, there were no professional interventionists.
That's right.
You know, this was a technique that was developed for families to use.
And so we want you to know that if you're very careful about following these directions and watch the entire video workshop, you're going to be very well prepared to do this intervention on your own. Now, there are some specific times when you really need a professional interventionist, and we will go into those later in the program. But for the most part, most families are able to do this on their own if they're careful about following the directions.
That's right, but we will really explain to you when you need to hire a professional, what circumstances make that very, very necessary, and as a team, you can make those kinds of decisions. If you are doing the intervention on your own, though, we usually say as a rule of thumb, take at least 2 weeks to prepare.
You want to make sure that you do it right. You're going to be bringing together all the most important people in the alcoholic or addict's life, and you've got to give everybody time to get up to speed.
Everyone needs to be educated. And one of the things that we have done is included on the website downloadable materials to go along with the video workshop. These materials will make it much easier for you to plan, collect information, know what to do next. Overall, we'll just streamline the entire intervention process.
There are sample intervention letters, sample bottom lines, there are checklists, there are FAQs, there's a lot of material there that's really going to help you with this process.
That's right. So one of the things that you can do is download all of that material, put it in a 3-ring binder so it's very handy as you go through the videos.
And don't hesitate to watch the videos several times so that you get all the information. Our goal is to make this as easy and clear for you as possible, and so you want to take advantage of everything that's being offered. When we do interventions, it's our experience that the person we're intervening on will go into treatment that same day about 85% of the time. About 15% of the time, we will get a hard no, but most of those people will go into treatment within the next few weeks. So it's a very successful technique, even though it's not an ironclad guarantee.
However, intervention must be done correctly to be successful. Oftentimes people say, oh, we've done this family intervention, but what they've really done is they've rushed in, no planning, no education, no preparation. What they're really doing is ambushing the alcoholic or the addict, and it ends up being a miserable failure. So preparation is always the key. You need to learn what to do. You need to follow all of the directions step by step, very diligently and very carefully.
That's right. Part of the goal of this intervention workshop is that you really learn everything that you need to do this successfully, and how to deal with a tough outcome if you have one, and how to deal with a successful outcome too as you work through the treatment process and into recovery. One of the things that we want to accomplish as well is just to help you to make the decision about whether intervention is right for you and your family.
That's right. When you watch this video workshop from beginning to end, if all the members of your family watch the video, you're going to have a very good idea if intervention is the next best step for your family.